This is the Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL, where information is power. It is now 39 after the hour. And, in some way, every one of us is feeling the financial impact of coronavirus, the coronavirus pandemic. Whether our checks have been cut or we're kind of holding a little tighter to our money in anticipation of our salary or wages being trimmed, cut, reduced. That's the mindset that most of America is in right now. Right here in Washington, D.C., CityFirst Bank is always committed to the community and always looking for ways to offer support, offer resources to help customers navigate through financial times that may not be as I would just say difficult financial times. So joining me to talk about what CityFirst is doing regarding the economic challenges that some small businesses and nonprofits might be facing now during the COVID-19 pandemic is the Vice President of Citibank here in Washington, D.C. He's also the Marketing Executive Director for CityFirst Bank here in Washington, D.C. And his name is Tom Nida. Hey, Tom, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Madelyne. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So thanks so much for joining me this morning and sharing with me what CityFirst is doing to get in front of this pandemic and to help people in the Washington area actually make a way without feeling too much of a financial strain here. I know that you are aware of the coronavirus crisis, and you guys already have some initiatives in place. Can you run through those for me?
Sure. First off, banks are considered to be an essential industry in these times, and so the challenge for us is to stay in business and provide our basic financial function. We've done that by having most of our staff working from home, teleworking remotely with their computers, and minimizing the amount of interaction they've got to have during the day. We find that operating with a skeleton crew, we have limited branch hours, but we're still functioning with the ongoing operations of the bank. We're also finding that one of the roles we have with our customers and with the community in general is just to provide them with information and connections on a wide range of topics, everything from information about the COVID-19 situation to information about how to connect in with the SBA or to the D.C. government for the various loans and grant programs that are coming.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, how many branches do you have here in the district?
We have just the one. It's on U Street.
Okay. And speaking to that, how can you help people ease their fears right now about the anxiety that they're having with their money and their finances? Do you have any advice for folks sitting at home wondering what to do?
Well, I think one of the things to consider is that a lot of folks have taken advantage of online banking, just like they're doing online shopping otherwise these days. Mm-hmm. And if they're not comfortable or not aware of the online banking option, most of them would have. They just need to reach out to their bank and get information. We've been providing lots of instructions and reminders to folks about how to actually navigate the online system, which is functioning. The other thing, too, is that we have encouraged people to make use of ATMs where necessary, although I think most folks these days are more likely to use plastic than cash, particularly in this day and age.
Yeah. We've been encouraged to have some cash on hand in the house. Is that something that you also recommend? And as a banker, about how much money should folks have on hand if, in fact, you do think it's a good idea to, or if you think it's wise to keep that kind of money around in the house?
Well, I don't advise people to stuff their mattress full of cash. I think the idea is to have, a reasonable working supply. If you have access to an ATM, you can always get a moderate amount of cash as it's needed. But every time you interact with somebody else and you're passing paper from one hand to another, you just have to be aware of the fact that, that's something that could give you some exposure, even if it's mild.
Yeah.
And so it's a situation where I think people have to just make decisions about things like cash on hand to suit their immediate needs.
Okay. I want to talk about the mayor's microgrant program. I know you guys are working pretty close with her on that for small businesses and nonprofits in D.C., and you kind of touched on it a minute ago, but can you flesh it out a little bit for us? How is CityFirst Bank partnering with the mayor's office?
Well, we have been working with the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. Their staff is actually creating the emergency microgrant program. And that program actually has such demand that the applications have to be in by, I believe, 6 p.m. today for distribution of cash next week. The mayor has set aside a total of $25 million at this point, which is available to small businesses and local nonprofits, either to help them get through the hump or, in the case of some of the nonprofits, potentially to help them add capacity as the demand for some of their services has spiked.
Wow. So the 6 p.m. deadline today, is that the only deadline, or is this a deadline that is extended to next Tuesday and the following Tuesday, or you've got to do it today?
The demand for this $25 million is so high, I would imagine this is a single deadline unless there's more funding committed. CityFirst role is to wait until the deputy mayor's office has actually processed the applications which are submitted online and made decisions on who's approved and for how much. And then we're one of 5 organizations that will be responsible for getting the money out the door.
Geez, listen, Tom, I need you to give me some more information about that. Can you stick with me for just a second?
Sure.
Good. This is the Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL. We're back in a moment, so stay with us.
The Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods on 1450 WOL.
This is the Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods. My guest with me right now is Tom Nida. He is Executive Vice President and Marketing Executive for CityFirst Bank here in Washington, D.C. And Tom, we were talking about the mayor's micro grant program for small businesses and nonprofits. And you were talking about how CityFirst is partnering with the mayor's office to be able to facilitate these, grant proposals or the distribution of the funds. The deadline is today, 6 p.m. For people who might be interested and want to do a mad dash to get an application in, can you run through some of the qualifications?
Well, basically, it has to be a business or a locally based nonprofit serving the local community. There is some basic information for the organization itself and how many folks work for it. They want to get some current financial information to judge the impact of the current situation on the organization or the business. It's fairly basic stuff, and it's all laid out in detail on the online application form.
Okay, but if they had questions, you were saying that your employers or employees right now are telecommuting, they're working from home. Will anyone be available to answer questions or to walk them through the application process if necessary?
They can call me.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get your
I'm here
number.
in the office.
We'll get your number before we hang up. Now,
Okay.
Tom, let me ask you this now. Stimulus checks. How is CityFirst working with the government with regards to these stimulus checks that we're all expecting, small businesses, and even the loans that are supposed to be, coming out to try to help our small businesses here in the Washington, D.C. area, or really just D.C.? How are you working with the government to be able to get that money into the right hands for our small businesses and keep them afloat?
Well, most of this funding is going to come directly from the government, whether it's the SBA or the Treasury Department. There are some loans that can be done, but I'm thinking that the primary focus right now is getting money out the door quickly. Mm-hmm. And so the challenge will be for folks, if they in fact are receiving checks or receiving some sort of an automatic credit to an account, just to watch for it as it comes out. And then the trick is going to be to, cash those checks or deposit them so that they can actually have use of the money.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons we're just staying open to be able to help facilitate that as those checks start to flow.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Tom, let me ask you this now. Looking ahead, we have so many small businesses here in D.C. We have so many independent contractors, freelancers, gig workers. What do you think the local economy is going to be like when we get on the other side of this coronavirus pandemic?
Well, I think it probably is going to be dependent upon how long this particular crisis lasts. The longer it goes, the more difficult it's going to be for particularly small businesses and nonprofits to survive. But I think the issue here is that D.C. has got a pretty strong economy normally, and that one has to recognize that here in the district, the largest industry is hospitality. Mm-hmm. Above the federal government, and the third is the nonprofit industry. And so given the fact that your two of your three largest industries are going to be so heavily impacted by all this, I would expect that the government will give that priority to help those organizations and businesses get back on their feet.
Okay. Now, Tom, I said that we were going to get your number so that anybody wanting to apply for these micro grants through the mayor's office can get in touch with you if they have questions. How can people follow you or find you, Tom?
Okay, my direct number is 202-243-7115. I can also give you the website to get applications in online. It's www.coronavirus, that's spelled as one word, .dc.gov/recovery-business.
That's a
and
lot.
That will not only take you to the mayor's site for the micro grants, but I believe it also links into the SBA site for their various programs.
That's wonderful. I'm going to read it back to you just to be sure that I got it down right. The website is coronavirus. And that's all one word, coronavirus.dc.gov/recovery/business.
Not a slash, a dash.
Dash. So which one?
Recovery-business.
Dash business. Okay, let's do it again. coronavirus.dc.gov-recovery/business.
Nope, you got it backwards.
Okay, Tom, you do it.
One more time. So it's www.coronavirus.dc.gov/recovery-business.
Got it this time. Okay, so I'll be sure to put that on our website too. And your number again is 202-243-7115.
That is correct.
Okay, I got that right. Thank you so much, Tom, for joining me this morning. Thank you for all the information. CityFirst Bank, if you're interested, be sure that you get in contact with them. And good luck to everybody applying for that micro grant with CityFirst and the mayor's office. Thanks, Tom. Have a great day.
Thank you, Madelyne. Stay well.
I will. You too.